What's up, guys? It's Mr. Sutton back with our decimal division review part 2. This is going to be a little bit more difficult because we're working with dividing decimals by decimals. So bear with me, but it will be really useful once you get the hang of it. And once you start practicing a bunch, you'll be able to do them no problem. So first things first, we want to set this problem up like we would be if we were doing short or long division. We're going to put our divisor, which is 0.8, right here. And we're going to take 9.6, which is our dividend, and put it underneath. So when you're multiplying, or excuse me, when you're dividing by decimals, a friendly trick that I like to do is I like to multiply it by 1 power of 10, just to make the numbers easier to work with because it won't change your answer at all. So we're going to take our decimal point and we're going to move it 1 to the right for both numbers. And then we're going to rewrite our problem again. So instead of 0.8 being on the outside and 9.6 being on the inside, we just have 8 on the outside, and then we have 96 on the inside. And now it's a lot easier to work with, and we get the same answer that we would if we had done it just using the numbers like this. So now we need to ask ourselves the same thing we would if we were doing a normal division problem, right? How many times does 8 go into 9? Is our first step. How many times does 8 go into 9? 8 can fit into 9 once with a remainder of 1. And then 8 can fit into 16 twice with no remainder. And we have no decimal. So by that logic, that means that our answer is 12, but we always want to double check our work just to make sure we're right. When we're doing a division problem, we can flip it, or we can make it the inverse and test it through multiplication to see if our answer is right. So 9.6 divided by 0.8 is the same, equaling 12, is the same thing as saying 12 times 0.8 is going to give us 9.6. So let's test it out. So let's do 0.8 times 10. 0.8 times 10 is going to give us 8. Now all we need to do is add 2 more groups of 0.8. So 0.8 and 0.8 added together would be 1.6. And then 1.6 plus 8 would give us our 9.6. So our answer checks out. So let's go through one more practice problem and see if we still get it the same way. Let's do 3.4 and 8.5. So we're doing 8.5 divided by 3.4. Our first step, we're going to move our decimal 1 to the right and rewrite it. I'm going to rewrite it up here. So now we're doing 34 and 85. So we're doing 85 divided by 34. So now you can think about it in a couple of ways. How many times does 34 go into 85 evenly? So 34 and 34 together give us 64. And if we add one more group of 34, we're going to go over, right? So for right now, 34 goes into 85 twice, evenly, but then there's some decimal amount that we still need to figure out. So let's figure out what we're left with. So if we subtract 64, which would be 2 groups of our 32, right? We would get 1, and we would get... Oh, I'm sorry, I'm supposed to be subtracting by 68. So if we do that, we get 7. So 15 minus 8, that should be an 8, I apologize, would be 7. And then 7 minus 6 would give us 1. So we still have a remainder of 17. So now we need to think about how many times can 34 fit into 17. And if we think about 34 like a piece of pie, 17 would just be 1/2 of it. So 34 would fit into the remaining 17 through half. So our final answer would be 2.5. If you guys want some additional problems, I'm going to paste them right here. Take your time. If you guys want a hint, all of the answers will be whole numbers, so they won't be decimals. Try your best. This is going to be